Super Show. Do 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 do. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm feeling pretty good today, honestly. Feeling all right, and I'm alive, so I can't really complain. Welcome back to the Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show. I'm your host once again, Cain Stevens, and we're still picking up steam, everybody. We're still building steam, chugging along, and doing our party thing here. So, with all that little ridiculousness being said, I've got a heck of a show going on for you today. We're going to be diving into to the ghost of Owen Hart. For those of you that don't know, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm 40 years old, and yes, I still watch wrestling. I don't care if people think I'm an idiot or any of that stuff. I know that it's not real. I love it for the entertainment content that it brings. I just dig it. I always have. I love the characters, and I don't really care what people think about it. And this topic in particular is something that's always interested me. I was actually watching the pay-per-view when it happened and was completely shocked at what had taken place. Before we do that, though, there's a little builder, a little teaser for you. Before we get into that, though, we're gonna do a little segment we like to call Paranews.
Paranews. Paranews. Paranews.
It's from NPR, the Nebraska Public Media website. And I took this article off of there. It was from May 20th of 2022. And it says, scientists discover an ancient forest inside a giant sinkhole in China. And I bet you've probably seen some different things. I think Google had an article about it. I mean, there was a lot of articles about this, but it was extremely interesting. So basically, cave explorers stumbled upon a prehistoric forest at the bottom of a giant sinkhole in South China earlier this month. And sinkholes such as these are known in Chinese as Tian Kang or Heavenly Pit. At 630 feet deep, the sinkhole would hide the Washington Monument and then some. So it's a pretty big sinkhole. And, it opens up the idea of, what we in the paranormal have been hearing about for a long time, I'm sure. But, talking about ancient civilizations and, like the theory that civilizations have lived and maybe still do, like on the inner Earth, which is, sounds pretty far out there, but just hear me out for a second. So, the idea, think about, okay, say a nuclear bomb blew everything up or something. And, well, no, that's probably not a good analogy. Okay, just say all life died. Say a meteor hits and, a lot of life dies or most life, if whatever survives, like the dinosaur extinction and everything, if you buy into that, and there's some spooky kookies out there who don't necessarily buy into the science of that. So, take that. All you people that are always like, talking about us paranormal people as being nutcases and all that. Take that. But anyways, I digress. What I'm getting at is say something happens like a extinction event, but like animals are still alive. They say that, it really doesn't take but a matter of weeks before animals start taking back areas and wildlife starts, people aren't mowing their lawns, people aren't keeping up, vines and all this stuff are growing everywhere. And then pretty soon, as time goes on, things grow over, it's kind of like when they find the ruins of like ancient civilizations and it's like a giant hill, but then they uncover it, however the heck they uncover it and do what they do. And then, now we have all these cool ancient ruins to go look at and study. But, it's the thought of maybe it's like, civilizations still live on these inner part, like cities and all this other stuff. It's a pretty wild concept, but I mean it is something to be said about that. So I'm sure that with this, their minds are reeling, thinking that, well, it's obvious, this is inner stuff. But I mean, it was about, what was it? It's 630 feet deep, so it was quite a bit, down there. The trees were towering over 100 feet high, according to the Chinese government. It's one of 30 enormous sinkholes in the country. Wow. So there's that on, if anything, I look at it like it's great because they're talking about like we're losing all this rainforest and all these trees, and it's obviously important to the oxygen of the earth and everything else. And great, right? We have these sinkholes, revealing all these forests. Bring it on. We need the oxygen. We need all this stuff. So for the earth, it's awesome. But it is a really cool discovery. It's not necessarily paranormal in nature, but you could take it there if you wanted to, and I decided to. So because that's the purpose of the show, right? We're digging into the paranormal, and it's a paranormal super show. So you can't have a super show without bringing in super things like this. So I think science is a huge part of the paranormal as well. So let's take a look at the sinkhole was discovered by cave explorers outside of Pingy's village in Lai country. Yikes, you're all gonna be like, any of you Chinese listeners that are out there, and I'm sure there's millions of you, right? You're gonna be beating the crap out of me over this one. So I'm not even going to try to read some of these names of anything else. I've already butchered enough for you. So a team of explorers descended into the pit on May 6th, where they found ancient trees and other plant life. I wonder if they're going to find any, a bunch of like weird animals and bugs and all sorts of stuff, like some like albino cave creature is going to come out like with no hair and going to be like, ash white and have like red eyes. Like, he'll come running at everybody and scare the crap out of him. That you could have a horror movie, all you aspiring horror directors out there. Here's a great one. There's a sinkhole in China or somewhere, and they discover a forest, and it happens to be like a haunted forest, and it's got like all these crazy albino creatures that want to eat your brains and everything else. So there you go. There's a premise. Shoot it, book it. You can pay me for my services for the story. That would be awesome. Or you can just have it for free. So it's probably not a great idea, but somebody should try it. Yeah, they found ancient trees and plant life. It was full of geological wonders. So it'll be interesting to see what they unearth out of this thing. About 20% of the United States is made up of karst landscapes. Karst is a type of topography ideal for geological wonders like a sinkhole. So 20% of the United States has this type of thing. So about 13% of China is covered in karst topography, according to NASA, with the Jiangxi region. GUANGXI. You do the math on that one, kids. Even it's not really math, but you try to figure out how to say it, because I'm not going to try any harder on this. It looks like China, you have this incredibly visual, spectacular karst with enormous sinkholes and giant cave entrances. So they're going to find all sorts of stuff. This is a story that will develop over time. But I think it's a cool article. I deem it news to me and news to you. So if it's not, you can discard it from your mind and pretend like it never existed. But it's been said. It's a cool story. More to come on the monsters and the mysteries that will unearth themselves over time. So there you go, everybody. There's Para News for today. Now let's get back into the meat, the crux of what we want to get into. For those of you wrestling fans out there, and I know you're out there just like me. Owen Hart, if you don't know who he is, Owen Hart was a wrestler in the WWF, now the WWE. And he was was a favorite of a lot of people. He was beloved by wrestling fans, wrestlers, and lots of people in that genre of entertainment in the 1990s up into the early 2000s. Well, not the early 2000s because, so the tragedy that happened was on May 23rd of 1999. So May 23rd of 1999, if you can imagine me sitting there with a, Ultimate Warrior shirt on or something and, enjoying a nice surge and, probably had about 5 or 6 of them sitting there all jittery and ready to, macho man anyone that comes through the door. I'm watching pay-per-view, and it's the Over the Edge pay-per-view. And, I forget how far it was into it, but needless to be said, Owen Hart, who was a Canadian wrestler, he's only, part of the Hart Foundation with Bret Hart and, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Those guys, they were awesome. They're like renowned to be like these, amazing technical wrestlers and all of this. But then after all this stuff happened with Bret Hart and the Montreal Screwjob and all that stuff. No, it's on a porno. It's like it's like something that if you're not a wrestling fan, it's something big that happened that caused Bret Hart to leave the company, and it was a huge deal. He was the champ and all that. But anyways, Owen Hart's his brother. He stays and he continues, wrestling and kicking butt and doing all these things, dropping boots on people. And he takes on this goofy blue racer or razor. Is it razor or racer? It's one or the other. Anyways, he takes on this goofy superhero character. And, where he's always doing, he's like intense and he's a good wrestler and all this stuff, but he's also kind of like behind all these goofy, little skits and little things going on. And so what happened was they were intending to, they're big at the time and they were having a battle with WCW. WCW had Sting, and Sting would come down from the rafters and and drop into the ring, and there'd be all this cool stuff. So of course Vince McMahon, we gotta outdo them, So he somehow talks them into doing something with Owen Hart dropping from the rafters at this pay-per-view, and dropping into the ring and having this this cool little segment. And for wrestling, it's like it seems really unnecessary and really stupid, but it does make sense, for the show of it and all that. But the sad part about this is if you watch I watched the Dark Side of the Ring episode on it on Vice TV. You can find that in all different cable locations that have that type of content. There's lots and lots of stuff to read online and videos on YouTube about this particular segment, about Owen Hart's death and ghost sightings. So you could look into that. But, with the rigging, I guess from what I gather, they he had like a harness on, and then he was going to come down on this rigging, and then when he came down, he was just going to hit this quick clip and drop in the ring and go running or around, or I don't even know what they had planned, but I guess they had some issues with the rigging prior, and they decided to go with like a different rigging service, not like a top-notch one or something, like just like a local rigging. And don't quote me on this. It's all alleged, quote unquote, so that somebody doesn't sue me over it all, but this is kind of like common knowledge now. But whoever rigged it, they used like I don't know, some type of weird clip that's supposed to be like a quick clip, and it wasn't made for the situation. And so when he went to go drop from he's up there in the catwalk area of like the rafters, and he's looking down, and they probably give him the cue or whatever, and he's ready to go, and he takes a leap, and the rest is awful. I mean, it just a horrible tragedy. It's surreal to even think about, or that even happened. But so he fell a good like 80 plus feet to his death. He didn't die immediately, as he's falling, which is really They say that he was a really great guy, beloved by everybody, knowing that he's going to, probably be hurt extremely bad or perish from the fall. He's yelling for people to, around the ring area to get out of the way. And he falls and hits the ropes a certain way. And it was just it was a nightmare. They obviously, the rigging failed, and he fell to his eventual death. They later on, so they bring out people to medical people and everything, and they get him out of there. They take him to the hospital where they I'm sure they tried to revive him and work on him, but called it that he had died. Then later on, Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, or your announcers, they have the daunting task of saying to all of us who were watching and were disgusted by it all that Owen Hart had passed away. And it was just it was surreal, man. I mean, 1999, I would have been, still in high school. I'd have been a junior in high school. And it's just, it was awful then. It's awful now. That's why it interested me. The arena where they're at was, if I didn't mention that before, because I'm an idiot, I'll mention it again if I haven't, or have. It's Kemper Arena, which is now the Hy-Vee Arena in, looks like the West Bottoms of Kansas City. So if you're around the Kansas City area or know the Kansas City area, that's where it is and resides. So the reason I decided to do this particular segment, or this particular topic, as I was looking through and doing some show prep, is that, you can't believe it, right? He actually does show prep. I mean, ooh. Yeah, I actually do. So it looks like there's been some claims. There was an article I read in WrestlingIncorporated.com from February 17th of 2008. It said, according to KansasCity.com, there had been an article about sightings of Owen Hart's ghost up in the rafters and everything. And, somebody had actually contacted the general manager at the time, a guy named Mike Young. So, Mike, if you're out there, give me a call and we'll rap about this some more and talk about it. But he claims, of course, being, general manager, no employees had talked about it to him at all. and he hadn't noticed anything unusual in the rafters. So, he, I think he just didn't want, if you're or he's the assistant general manager. If you're the general manager or the assistant, you probably don't want to, or maybe you do. I think it would be a good way to get people in there, but maybe you just, for PR purposes, you don't want to mention that. Oh yeah, we see Owen Hart's ghost all the time. He's up there, doing this, that, and the other thing, doing a little show up there. But I don't think so. I think that he's probably either telling the truth or he just doesn't want to get into it too much. Apparently, according to him, there's 300. So what some of the claims people are having is that there's like lights flickering up there in the catwalk area all the time, and there's power outages and weird stuff happening. And there are even people claiming who were at the pay-per-view that after all that had happened, there was some of that activity going on. I don't know that to be true because I wasn't there, and obviously they weren't talking about it. It was kind of a somber pay-per-view after that. Everybody got probably mentally checked out. But unfortunately, Vince McMahon decided, being the businessman that Vince is, decides the show must go on, no matter what. And when I was watching it, I thought that sucked. I thought this should just be, give people their money back. This should be the end of the show. But that's not how Vince McMahon does things, and he does things for. But hey, I still watch wrestling, still watch WWE, so obviously they're doing something right. This was one thing that I feel like they didn't get right. So, but they're seeing flickering and all of that type of stuff. So I mean it's interesting. So then I get in a rabbit hole of reading all sorts of stuff, and I'm reading things that people are saying, forums and articles, watching YouTube videos, and I came across this YouTube video, and it was getting back to what. So this guy claimed that there were 300 power spikes a year at Kemper, which it might be par for the course for them. I don't know. But, it is near downtown. Downtown has some, light issues and flickering and stuff, according to what I'm reading ever so often. So it could just be that. But it definitely is interesting. I was watching a video. There's one video in particular. It was from August 20th of 2008. So around the same time as this article came up. This one that I was watching was a slow-mo of some other video, the same video, but they did a really good, clear slow-mo, like they had like editing equipment or something, of the supposed ghost sighting that kind of lit all this up. And so it goes through, and it's like, I think it's like Monday Night Raw or something, and John Cena's, in the ring, and they're trying to, it's a wrestling segment, but they pan up into the rafters, like a really far back kind of pan. And according to this, these claims of people, it looks like somebody's up there, like the Blue Razor is up there, or whatever. And I think, but I watched the video several times, especially in the slow-mo one. I watched the other videos too. And there's kind of like a light flicker and this and that, but I don't see it. Like, they claim that they see a ghost up there, but I mean, you got to realize there's lights flashing all over. It's like a big production, the WWE is. And, there's all sorts of things happening. It could honestly be a reflection. It could be about anything. But I just don't see it. I know there's people that claim that they do, but I don't see any evidence. I wasn't there. I'm just looking at the video evidence, and I don't see any evidence of a ghost. Or some people say that they can actually see his costume a little bit, and I don't know. I don't think it's that conclusive. I don't really see any investigations that have been done there. Maybe they will down the line, maybe at the end of the run of this place. But I haven't read any major paranormal stuff, the investigations and whatnot, claiming that they have true proof of ghosts. But, there are some encounters that people claim to have had. But the interesting thing is that a lot of the claims aren't from people who actually work there, or a lot of it's from other people, even in other states and stuff that aren't even there. So they're just like blindly making claims. And that's not good for the, ghost hunting and paranormal world. We already have enough problems proving to people what we believe and what we've felt. So we don't, making bold claims like that is ridiculous. Like, to me, I don't get to mean to get fired up, but it is. It's like, people already look at the paranormal and people who are interested in the field or study in the field or any of this as kooks. And then we have people making blind claims like that with no real evidence. So come on, step it up, people. Let's, I know that you guys are all about, some of you out there are all about, oh, I got an orb in the picture and I got this and that. And that's great. And that's evidence to you, and you deem it as good enough. But I'm not trying to discredit what you're saying. I love that there are other people out there who are doing way more than I am. It's not like I'm going to all these haunted locations and everything, but we can't count every dust particle and every bug that flies by and everything as a ghost. Like EVPs and stuff like that, to me, that's pretty great evidence. But I just don't feel like there's a massive amount of video evidence that's really that compelling. There's a lot of evidence, and some of it is great, and some of it's compelling, but it's not like an overwhelming amount that really proves the paranormal. So, I challenge you out there, if you are a ghost hunter and you're you edit all that stuff, is just step it up a little bit, like don't accept just anything because you're just looking for that, looking for proof of ghosts. Like, really, if you really have it, like, prove that there's ghosts so that we can make this a better topic for everybody to be comfortable, wanting to go over and be comfortable sharing our ghost stories. So yeah, I invite you to, go to YouTube, type in Owen Hart's ghost, Owen Hart, Hart, and just look at the videos for yourself, and you arrive on your own assumption. Because when it all comes down to it, it doesn't matter what I'm blabbing about or what I think or my opinions. I'm just sharing them with you. You're welcome, obviously, to arrive on your own assumptions. But, it is very interesting that a tragedy like this happened, and then there are claims of ghost activity. I read in a couple forums that there's somebody claiming that Rowdy Piper, before he died, was claiming to have seen, had a ghost sighting of Owen Hart and some different wrestlers. But obviously, Rowdy's not here anymore, and I'm not able to corroborate that story as being true or anything. So, no, but it's interesting. This is definitely an interesting topic. I'll bet there's a ton of ghost stories from wrestlers throughout the years, as much traveling as they do and all these places they go to, week in and week out. There's some pretty historic buildings, and I'm sure that there's a ton of, maybe I'll try to follow up and look up ghost stories throughout the, wrestling world, or, the WWE or something like that would stand to be a pretty cool story. But, I hope that, I hope that you at least like this topic a little bit. Like I said, it resonates with me because I was watching it when it actually happened, and I've always wanted to do something about this. I'm such a huge wrestling fan anyway. I love all of it. I love AEW and Impact and NWA and all that stuff. It's all still going strong, and it's just a nice pastime for me. I love the goofy storylines and all the ridiculous acrobatics and all that stuff. So I don't know. It's a cool topic. I don't want to get too long winded. I still got to do my other segment before we close out here. So with that being said, that's the old Owen Hart ghost sighting story that I have for you today. Feel free to email me or talk to me, whenever you want. And look, maybe someone's emailing me right now. I hear my phone going off. But anyways, just feel free to get a hold of me on that. So with that being said, let's rifle into our next closing segment here, and then we'll kind of do some outro stuff and talk about some upcoming things, and we'll wrap this baby up. So, all right, let's do a nice segment we like to now call In Your Dreams. All right, so we're back to In Your Dreams, the old book of the 1970s something book of your horoscope and your dreams. Yellow book, pretty book, yellow and red book. I really love it. I'm really digging the segment, and we're just gonna thumb through right now by chance, back and forth, up and down. All right, we've fallen onto something. So this says, all right, here's one. This one says foghorn. To those who are harassed by worry and poverty, a dream of hearing a foghorn offers hope of speedy relief. So, man, that's a it's a mouthful to try to get out there. So if I try to if an idiot like myself tries to understand this, it's saying that if you are harassed by worry and poverty, and you have a dream of hearing a foghorn, it's offering you hopes of speedy relief over time. So that's, don't we all, right? But I can't recall ever having a foghorn in my dreams. Not even foghorn leghorn, or I've never had that. So, all right, let's do one more here. We're flipping back and forth. Okay, we're landing on M's. Here we go. A monkey. So if you see a monkey in your dream, this is what it means. To dream of keeping a monkey as a pet indicates that you are going to meet heavy treachery. Oh my. So it says a chattering monkey denotes that people will gossip about you and your personal habits. Monkeys in a cage at the zoo are a portent of coming trouble with hostile competitors. Man, that's a lot of stuff. So apparently people must be having a lot of monkey dreams, and if you are, this gives you kind of a chattering monkey denotes that people will gossip about you. Well, that kind of makes sense, right? We're all kind of chattering monkeys in our own way. If you really look at it, what I tell my daughter, I kind of call us as people like monkey meat sacks, or and this has no bearing on anything. It's just my goofy mind going to work. So there you have it. If you see a monkey in your dreams, and it refer back to this episode every time you do, and it will kind of tell you what it means. So thank you again. Oh, I'm gonna hug the book now. Oh, the old book of horoscopes and dreams. It was another great segment. We'll keep doing it every week until we circle back to the same ones and you start emailing me, oh, you already did that, and knock it off. So till then, we're going to keep doing it. So there you go. There's In Your Dreams for this episode. I want to thank you guys once again for listening to the show. This was another fun, shortish podcast, but I think I had a lot of action-packed facts and different things in there. Or if I didn't, we'll always wish I did. So, keep looking for me under Cain Stevens, Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show on Instagram and Facebook, TikTok under Cain Stevens Podcasts, and all sorts of things. It's been good talking to you guys. Next week, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do quite yet. I'm probably going to dive back into the Curse of Arnold Heights. I've got a ghost story that's pretty terrifying from a guy who messaged me a couple years ago about it, and I just hadn't come forward with it yet. So, stick around for that. He's got some pretty wild claims for what they went through in their duplex out there. So, there's a teaser probably for next week. We'll do it next week. I think that's a good story to continue with and do. So it's been real, everybody. It's been fun. It might even been real fun to some of you. If it hasn't, we'll always wish it had. So thank you guys for listening to the Cain Stevens Paranormal Super Show. And, we'll see you on the other side. Good night.